Welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. We're getting there, not fast enough. So please hit subscribe, watch, comment, and share because the insanity, the stupidity, the chaos, it's an everyday occurrence. Now, look, if anybody knows what it's like to face Trump's revenge and his retaliation, it's me. All right? He's been willing to weaponize the Department of Justice against his critics for years. In fact, I wrote a best-selling New York Times book about it called Revenge. Now, that list has grown. And that list, of course, also includes California Senator Adam Schiff, as well as New York Attorney General Letitia James. On my Mea Culpa podcast, my guest, Marcus Flowers, and I, we debate whether the legal move will actually prove to MAGA that Trump never really cared about ending political prosecution or restoring the rule of law. That's never what it was about. Play the clip. If we're talking about authoritarian, let's just even turn around and take a look at this Trump DOJ. You know, I wrote a whole book on it, turned out to be #6 New York Times bestseller, my second book called Revenge, how Donald Trump weaponized the United States Department of Justice against his critics. That was his first administration. He has become much more sophisticated. The people who are around him, like Vought over with the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025, they know what they're doing. And this new second administration, and this new second administration, DOJ, they have now opened up not one, but two criminal investigations into one, it was New York Attorney General Tish James, and the second one against Senator Adam Schiff, two of Trump's most vocal critics. So the question I want to ask you, Marcus, is how is this not political revenge under the banner of law enforcement?
Oh, but absolutely is. I mean, we talked about this in the first administration where the guardrails, for all intents and purposes, held because you had people in DOJ, you had people in the Republican Party, even in the Senate and in the House, who were willing to stand up. But this time around, there's none of that. They did learn. Project 2025 that we warned about for a year or more before the election, when people started finally paying attention in the last couple of months, when I guess it was Taraji P. Henson went on an awards show and talked about it. But I've been talking about it for years already. This is what they're trying to implement. They're going to take over. If we let this election slide and let Trump get back into office, he's going to put the right people in place. So now we've got a chance here in the midterms to put a halt to that. Democrats have to flip the House. We got to. I mean, there's just no way around it. Otherwise, it's all lost. And I know I've been saying this since 2021. I've been warning about fascism and authoritarian takeover. And people thought it was fear-mongering for the most part. But now we're living it. We are living it, Michael.
Marcus, you'll remember in 2018 when I came out and I said that my biggest fear is if Trump loses in 2020, there will never be a peaceful transfer of power. Those words came out of my mouth at the House Oversight Committee, one of my 7 committee hearings that I had to sit before. But this is different. You know, a lot of people are like, well, you know, this time it's different. Well, it's not different. When I was incarcerated, not once but twice, including the second time when I was incarcerated because I refused to sign a counterfeit document that prohibited me from publishing my first book, Disloyal, which was #1 on the New York Times bestseller for a month, right? They threw me back in jail. Now, that's right out of Putin's playbook, right? He did that to Navalny. They've done that to journalists for many, many years.
You were one of the first, but you weren't the last.
Well, I was hoping that I would be the last. Unfortunately, you're right. I'm not. And what we're seeing right now, and my prediction, I was on MSNBC, my prediction, both Tish James and Adam Schiff will both suffer repercussions. and accountability under this DOJ. That's my prediction. Rest assured, I know for a fact I'm right.
But what I hope happens out of that, if that to happen, heaven forbid, like I said, they went after you hard. They went after you hard. They're going after other people just as hard. So when you start seeing some of these elected officials carried away in handcuffs, is that going to be a wake-up call to the MAGAs who were all about law and order and draining the swamp and not going after your political enemies? Yeah. What's going to happen when you start seeing senators, attorneys general that don't agree with this president, who are trying to uphold law, but they're going after him simply for his revenge?
Well, you
like
do know that
his revenge on you, and you spoke out, man. I was, yes, great.
Yes,
guys,
but MAGA wants this. MAGA eats this up, right? And yes, there are Republicans that will turn around and say, whoa, really? Against the attorney general, against the senator, and so on. But they're doing it under the guise that they broke the law, that they committed mortgage fraud. All right. If it was you who had committed those crimes, this is going to be their argument. Rest assured. I know what I'm talking about, because sadly, I actually helped write this playbook. They're going to turn around and say, Marcus Flowers, if this hypothetically was you and you committed this mortgage fraud, your ass would already be in jail. All right, plain and simple. So they need to be held accountable too, under the same guise that any other American citizen would. So therefore, we are the law and order party. We're just saying that just because you are a senator or you are an elected attorney general doesn't mean you get to break the law. And that's what our DOJ is promising you, the American people. Equal justice for all.
Spinning like a top.
Spinning
like a top. I mean, it's ridiculous, but I want people to wake up and start realizing what's going on over here. It's a full-blown takeover. I mean, I think we're already there. It's not coming. It's already here. And when you start seeing those elected officials taken out in handcuffs, with Trump, who took classified documents, took them to Mar-a-Lago. Not only did he do that, because that could have been corrected easily, just hand them back over. But then he obstructed justice and hid them. And then he had the Supreme Court, this activist Supreme Court, this MAGA Supreme Court, say, he's a president. He was coloring inside the lines of his presidency. He can do that. You can't convict him. I mean, they dragged their feet a whole lot so that it could run out the clock first, and then made that bogus call. So
yeah. So look, if the Justice Department becomes a personal hit squad for the president,
I feel like it already is.
Okay. So what does it then say about the checks and balances our founding fathers designed? Where is that?
Well, I can't remember who said it, was Madison, but it depends on the people. It's all about the people who head those departments, those department heads, those secretaries, those people in government being people of good moral character, who will, as we all took the oath, I took the oath over 30 years ago when I swore to support and defend the Constitution. That's on the people. And if you don't have the people there who are willing to support and defend the Constitution and maintain our institutions, then what do we have? What do we have? We're just as corrupt as the worst corrupt countries there are out there. It all depends on the people, which is why Trump has surrounded himself and all of those department heads. When you look at the DOJ, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, these are all Trump sycophants. They're going to do what he wants. I'm sure they all took a loyalty test, not to the Constitution, not the oath that we all took. I swear to support, uphold, defend the Constitution. No, I swear to do whatever Trump tells me to do. So we've got the wrong people in there now.
Well, the right people for Trump, the wrong people for America.
Servants.
Yeah, I mean the right people for Trump, the wrong people for America.
Well, I mean, again, I served the country for almost 30 years, 3 decades.
Wow.
It was never about me. It was never about a commander or a boss at DOD or the Department of State. It's about the Constitution, serving the American people and what's good for them.
Well,
good for all
look,
of
so
us.
sure,
If you,
but let
if
me
you don't get that when you swear that oath, then you're lost. You don't want democracy. You don't want it.
Yeah, well, here, I'll tell you what it shows. It shows that there is an unmistakable message coming out of this White House. You cross Trump, and they will unleash the government on you to the fullest extent possible. More so than anybody is even aware that they can do.
No, it's meant to send,
yeah. And
it's meant to send a chilling effect.
Of course. But the question I want to ask you is, how dangerous is it when intimidation like this becomes normalized at the highest level?
I mean, I think about some of the places I served. Iraq, Afghanistan, Sudan, places where I served, and I saw corruption running rampant and people in fear that they could be, taken off the streets for the simplest thing, not just talking about politics, but be taken off the streets for the simplest thing, disagreeing, speaking their mind. That's what they want. They want that fear across the board. And you got MAGA who, they're all in on that for the most part. That hard 30% right of MAGA who aren't interested in democracy anymore. They want a king or a dictator or an authoritarian. There's that. And in some of the places that I've been, I see that fear is real with people. They're afraid of government, period. Just afraid, won't speak out on anything. That's what Trump wants here. He wants his enemies crushed. He wants to send that chilling effect across the board so that people don't cross him. I mean, and you got these organizations like, you name it, the newspaper, you name it, the media corporation, who are kissing the ring, for lack of a better term.
You mean like Fox News?
Like Fox News, of course, but they helped start this. But you got other organizations who
Newsmax,
were
OAN, Christian Broadcasting Network, just to name a few.
The newspapers, they're folding. Facebook, Twitter. I mean, that's a cesspool
TikTok.
now anyway. Guys folding beforehand, saying, "Okay, we don't want any of that. We don't want any of the retribution that he's going to bring." So the chilling effect is already there. It's not reached all the way down to the people like you and I who are willing to fight back, but you see a lot of people that they're going after, that they're throwing these lawsuits up and suing people for,
What do you mean? I got sued.
What?
Marcus, he sued me.
Miles Taylor, the list goes on.
He sued me for $500 million in the Southern District of Miami, right? And so on. Ultimately, that case was just dropped by him. But
they're all frivolous
chances are they may end up refiling it again. It doesn't stop me from speaking the truth. Funny though, there are people who don't even want to hear the truth. All they want to hear is, just more stuff about Trump and the danger that these people are doing. And I'm talking, these are Democrats, by the way. The danger that they're doing is they're just giving Trump a reason to claim fake news when you start publishing false information. And then you go ahead and, you try to run with that in order to garner what? An applause? Another subscriber, maybe a paid subscriber? That's fucked up. And that's where this country is falling apart, because Trump will build on that. Like you would take a piece of sand and say that sand represents the entire beach. No, it doesn't. It's just one piece of sand. And if you start making that piece of sand, that one fact that he's right about, and you make that into the whole thing, right? The one tree versus the forest ideology, that's where we're screwed.
But Michael, you and I and the likes of Miles Taylor and people like that, we're not just normal people. We're going to speak up. We're going to speak out. We're going to continue putting ourselves out there. And we need more of that. We need more of that. But not everybody's like that. You got to understand, when they come after certain people, that's going to chill a lot of other people. They're going to say, I want no parts of that. We see it happen time and time again. But we got to keep stepping out there on that ledge and just going for it. Got to continue to speak truth to power. Don't let these frivolous lawsuits, these threats of lawsuits. I mean, we know Trump is the most litigious president ever, and it's all bullshit lawsuits. I mean, how many bullshit lawsuits has he filed?
I don't know. The guy's been winning one after the other. He took ABC for 17 million, 26 million from CBS. I understand. Harvard, paid him. Now Yale, or not Yale, Columbia paid him. Now UCLA is in the chopping block. I mean, he's for $1 billion. I mean, they are all folding because they're not worried about the First Amendment. They're not worried about the things that protect you and me. That's right. They're worried about their bottom line to their shareholders. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.